Shalom from the holy city of Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. What is the freedom that we are celebrating on the festival of Pesach? The Passover, when God passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt, when he struck the firstborn of the Egyptians and thereby set the Israelites free. It's in commemoration of that Passover that Israel in temple times would bring the Passover offering, the Pesach, the lamb or the kid goat that was offered at the temple, and the meat of which was taken home by all of the Israelites to where they were staying in Jerusalem to celebrate the evening of the 15th of Nisan, the night on which Israel were redeemed from Egypt, the night when God has commanded us, parents to tell their children, adults to teach each other, everybody to speak about the miracles of the Exodus from Egypt. What could be more royal than the crisp, freshly roasted meat of the tender lamb or kid goat, eaten at the climax of the Passover night Seder, the order of fulfilling the commandments of that night. And after chewing this royal food, this royal roast, we then taste nothing to keep the taste of the Pesach sacrifice on our mouths the whole night. The taste of freedom. Well, God has not yet deemed our generation worthy of celebrating Pesach in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. And today we have the matzot, the unleavened bread, which in fact is what gives the Pesach festival its name in the Torah, in the 5 books of Moses, where it's always called Chag HaMatzot, the festival of the matzot. Matzah is bread that is unleavened. It's been kneaded and baked so quickly that there's been no time for the bread actually to rise, to produce the normal, tasty, crusty loaves of bread that we so much savor during the days of the year. The matzah is a very skimpy kind of food. It's a wafer, a cracker that easily breaks without a whole lot of water left after the baking. Has to be really dry, and in order to eat it you have to chew it and chew it. And this is the taste of the freedom of Pesach. What exactly is freedom? Freedom has been the watchword of philosophies, of political ideologies and political movements until today. For many people, freedom is the freedom to be able to do all of the things that are done by those that people envy, the very wealthy, those who have many opportunities. Wouldn't we all like to take things easy without having anybody compelling us to do what we don't want to do? Wouldn't we all like to indulge all of our favorite desires and longings? The freedom to, license to, is that the freedom of Pesach that is symbolized by these matzot? Well, Pesach is about freedom from Paro, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, symbolizing the external tyrants, the political tyrants that rule over whole nations and whole peoples. There are the tyrants in our own circles, our own lives, the tyrants at work, the boss, the other personalities that impose upon us, in the people we are with day after day. In our very homes there are the tyrants who seem to rule over our lives. And then there's the inner tyrant, the inner Pharaoh, the Yetzer Ra, the evil inclination that God has put into our very hearts as the antagonist. who comes to force us to struggle, to cry out, to scream out, until God, on the festival of Pesach, reveals that God rules over everything. God rules over the whole universe, over all of nature, over all people. And when we will cry out to God against these tyrants, the external tyrants and the inner tyrants, God will save us and redeem us. And this is the essential message of Pesach that is contained in the matzah. The matzah is so humble, the bread of humility. The Torah calls the matzah lechem oni, the bread of affliction. The matzah is made of the 4 elements of creation. The grain comes from the earth, the grain is ground up. It's mixed with water. The dough of flour and water is exposed to fire, the heat of the oven, baked very quickly, and the whole struggle of the matzah is that it should not become chametz, it should not become leavened, it should not be inflated with the ruach, the air, the 4th of the elements, because there is good ruach, good spirit, but there's bad spirit. And the 7 days of the festival of Matzot come to teach us that we have to drive away the bad spirit from our hearts and the bad spirit from around us. And this is done through eating the lechem oni, the bread of affliction, that you have to chew and chew and chew. Highly portable, much more so than swollen loaves of bread. How could the children of Israel have taken out loaves of bread to sustain them in the wilderness? They took these crackers, light and easy to carry, and that was how they left Egypt, in the simplest possible way. And the lesson of Pesach is simplicity. We have to sustain ourselves with the bread of affliction. And that is the bread of God's Torah. And that's why on the very day after the first festival of Pesach, the day after the 15th of Nisan, commemorating the redemption, in temple times on the 16th, the children of Israel will bring in the temple the Omer offering, a humble offering of the simplest grain, the grains used to feed animals, the barley offering. As if to say, we had fallen into animality, we'd lost control over our lower self, that is now offered this on God's altar. And from that day, from the 2nd day of Pesach, the day after the first day of the festival, the 16th of Nisan, we begin a 49-day count that will bring us to the Festival of Weeks, Chag HaShavuot, which comes to commemorate what was really the climax and the conclusion of the whole process of going out of Egypt, for Israel to stand at Sinai to receive the Torah. We've all been working very hard to prepare ourselves, our homes, our property for Pesach, trying to eliminate every possible last crumb of chametz, that leaven symbolizing pride. We shall have earned our ability to sit at the Seder night on the 15th, the night of the 15th of Nisan, drinking the wine, the 4 cups of freedom. But the real taste of freedom is the taste of the matzot, the bread of affliction. And as we chew our matzah on Pesach night, we are preparing our teeth and our mouths to chew the food and the sustenance that God has given us in His Torah, in His eternal teaching, which is the counsel and the advice against the counsel of the tyrant in the heart, against the counsel of all of the adversaries, to know that there is only God, and that having been freed by God, we are beholden eternally to God. And that is our greatness, that through our humility, through accepting the bread of affliction and humility, we become indeed the servants of the All-High, the servants of the Holy One, blessed be He. And thus, after Pesach day, the first day of the festival, we begin counting day by day until the festival of Shavuot. 49 days, teaching us to count our days, to value our time, to know how precious is every day, how precious is every hour, how precious is every minute, to devote ourselves to bathing in the soothing, radiant light of the Torah, which is the true healing for all of the ills and afflictions of the soul. Through bathing in the light of the Holy One, blessed be He, through words of prayer, through words of devotion, straight from our hearts in our own words. I wish you Chag Kasher V'Sameach, a festival that will be kasher, truly pure, a festival that will be sameach, full of joy. Shalom, Pesach, kasher v'sameach.